Thank you very much. And Senator
Well, first of all, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I completely agree that this is a hearing about a novel and complex issue. Listening to testimony, looking at the written testimony, it also strikes me as this is an issue that really should be completely nonpartisan. Not that there won't be some controversies as we start talking about the details of de minimis. I literally have a couple hours worth of questions here, and I'd love to assemble a group like this and probably a broader group to just go through. But first of all, as we approach this, I would like to, kind of like the medical profession, first do no harm. I'll just quick ask you, is there a particular thing that would do harm that you've been hearing? Just quick down the list. I don't want you to spend a whole lot of time on this. Is there something that we really ought to avoid? We'll start with you.
Yeah, I would say the current tax treatment of staking and mining rewards is what's doing harm, and that's one of the main things that needs to be corrected.
But it's happening right now.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we would write something that would do harm. I mean, but basically all of you are in agreement, we've got to provide legislation to define these things, to provide clarity. So again, I think the opportunity here is, okay, what are those things that need to be defined? And I know a number of you got very specific suggestions here. I would want to find what does everybody agree on, isolate that, get those definitions in a piece of legislation, then we start haggling over the disagreements. But again, I first want to say, what would we do to really create harm? Ms. Kramer.
Well, that's a great question.
I try and have good ones.
Yeah, right. Of course, you asked me first. I would say that one of the things that you could do to avoid harm would be to make the clarification. To have harm would be to unintentionally provide tax subsidies for some people when other people don't get it. And so that's really the harm question. And so you have, the job you have is to work on making sure that if you're doing it intentionally.
So, Mr. Zlatkin, you provided, I think 10 recommendations. By the way, were you able to see each other's testimony before you came here today?
No.
Okay, I would suggest you read it, and then the question I'd like to ask for the record is, what, out of all the testimony, what do you all agree on, and where's the disagreement? But Mr. Zlatkin, do you have anything in particular that you think would do harm if we would put something in legislation?
Thank you, Senator. I think that my theme is that there's a lot of potential for over-reporting. We spend a lot of time on that, even in this discussion about de minimis and with stablecoins itself. There's an enormous potential. This is a democratized form of financial asset class where people can use things in ways that weren't done before. And there's a tremendous potential here for over-reporting and burdening the system. It's burdening the system for taxpayers, and it's burdening the system for the IRS. So let's take reporting today, and if you enhance this by over-reporting, by not including a de minimis rule, you're going to have billions of transactions that taxpayers are going to have to report, keep track of. I don't think most taxpayers are prepared for that result. It'll probably hinder the growth of the industry. It will also
when you talk about reporting, again, I want to always keep things as simple as possible. The whole blockchain is based on pretty complex computers, which we have now, so hopefully we could be able to use something like that. Ms. Nellen, representing the AICPA, I would ask you, same question in terms of, is there something that we would do to actually create harm, but also who else, we need all the stakeholders at the table here as you discuss, again, find out what are areas of agreement, what needs definition, how should you properly define it, and start working on the areas of disagreement. So I'd also ask you, who's not represented here? What stakeholders aren't here? But first of all, is there something that we would do that actually do harm?
The only thing I could think of that might do harm if there was some term added that wasn't clear enough, so it then caused people to not act or interpret it incorrectly. So making sure terms are well defined with the types of transactions that are going on today. So far as stakeholders, I think the folks that are involved, or taxpayers involved, range all over the board. They could be individuals with small investments that are doing all kinds of things, trying to stake, have no idea about record keeping, have no idea about tax consequences. You've got folks with more income engaged in these transactions. You've got large companies engaged in various transactions. And perhaps, what rule works for one might not be appropriate for another one. Because I think today there is a lot of confusion among a lot of individuals who everywhere from, I thought I didn't have to pay tax until I cashed out at some point, to I don't know how to keep records. And obviously that doesn't excuse them not paying their taxes, but they need some kind of workable guidance, awareness of tools. In fact, actually, I think even enacting legislation is another wake-up call to folks. Hey, you need to be paying attention to what you're doing has tax consequences, and figure them out and deal with them.
So Mr. Chairman, again, I really appreciate you holding this hearing. I hope we can move forward in a very thoughtful way. Let's not do any harm. We've got to get this right. This is incredibly important. And I hope that people contact the committee. They've certainly offered to contact my office. If you're a stakeholder in this, contact us. Let's work through all these issues. Let's find those areas of agreement, and let's be very thoughtful. And again, Senator Wright, I don't think there's any reason for any partisanship in this whatsoever. And there may be some complex issues that need to work through. There'd be different opinions on that, but God, I just think this is a perfect opportunity to do something really important in a completely nonpartisan way. So again, I applaud the committee for doing this.